Okay, here we are with the DCC Concepts Cobalt Digital IP point motor. At the moment it's connected to an MRC Prodigy Advance DCC system. This is the same one that's sold in the UK by Gagemaster. It's just that when I got this, Gagemaster weren't selling them. What the idea now is to remove the self-centering feature on this motor. What it has is this drive pin here connects to the point via a fulcrum lever, but when supplied this is set in the middle. Now that's fine for setting up the point motor to the point, but we don't want it in the middle when we're using the motor. So the instructions tell us to use address number 198 to remove the self-centering feature. It also tells us to follow the manufacturers of the DCC systems guide for setting decoders, and this involves an extra step which is not immediately noticeable, but the first thing to do is to turn the little switch on the motor, which is there, push it forward to the set position. So that's now got it in a sort of learning mode, if you like. So we use the accessory button because it is an accessory, and we've got to enter the address of 198. There she is, and push enter. Now on its own that won't do anything. You need to send 1 or 2 to this motor, so we'll send 1 and press enter. The instructions tell us to do this twice, just to be sure. So it's accessory 198, enter, 1, enter. Allegedly now that should have the self-centering removed. Set to run, so we move the little switch back to run, and then the instructions tell us to turn the power off, wait a second or two and turn the power back on. So the power's off, and the power's on. Now the motor itself hasn't moved, but it will move in a minute when we give it an address. So what we need to do now is to give it a address number of anything you like, from 1 to whatever, but not using 197, 198 or 199 addresses. We'll call this number 1 because it's simple. So accessory, oops, forgot. Put the switch into set. Accessory 1, enter, and again you have to push in 1, and it's done. So this should be now set to 1, so we put the switch back to run, and we'll see what happens when we call up accessory number 1. Accessory 1, enter, and we'll call it 1, and there it goes to the right. Give it number 2, and it moves the other way. Give it number 1, and give it number 2, and so on. It keeps going backwards and forwards, and it's more than happy. And if we switch it off at any time, it stays there infinitum. We put the power back on, and it still stays there. So that's how you remove the self-centering. You can also change the normal direction. So what I mean by this is if I call up number 1 and push number 2 button, no, sorry, it is in number 2 position. So if I push number 1, it moves to this side. Number 1 moves it to the right. Number 2 moves it to the left. Number 1 to the right. Number 2 to the left. My point works the other way around. When I push 1, I want it over here. Now it tells you in the instructions that you can get round this by setting address number 197. We'll change it. So we've got to put the motor into set, accessory 197, enter 1 or 2, doesn't matter, 1, enter. We do it twice because it tells us to do it twice. Accessory 197, wasn't it? Oh, 197, yeah. enter, 1. Then it tells us to put the switch back, turn off the system, leave it for a second or two, and turn it back on again. Now we go to accessory 1, and we give it 1, and it moves to the other side now. So 1 is now to the left, where it was to the right earlier, and 2 is to the right. Quite simple. And there she is working. All the while this system holds the accessory on, you can keep moving this particular motor backwards and forwards all day. If I want to put the self-centering back on, I can use address number 199 and it will go back to self-centering. So there doesn't seem to be anything majorly wrong with it, other than the fact you have to, when programming it, use the 1 or 2 buttons following entering a command. So what we'll do now is we'll change its address number. It's set at 1 and we'll make it 50. To do that, we throw the switch to set, we call up the accessory and we enter 50, push enter, and it says 1 or 2 again, so we just give it a 1 and do it there. It says do it twice. I only do it once to see if it does take it or not. Put the switch back to ordinary run. Now we'll call up accessory 50, 1 or 2, and it's working it again. So it's really simple to change. Just got to remember that you have to use the manufacturers of the DCC systems setting of accessories as well as the DCC Concepts system. You just can't enter address number 197, 198 or 199 and expect it to work. You have to follow on with the 1 or 2 on this system. So we'll move on in a minute to use the NCE PowerCab and see how it is with that. What I'll do is I'll put it back to self-centering to show how that works, and then we're done. So I'll go back to loco so that it's not an accessory. Not that it makes any difference. Move the switch to set, and to put self-centering back on we need to use address number 199. So we go accessory 199, enter. 1 or 2 comes up again, so we push 1 and it tells me to do it twice, so we will. 199, enter. 1. Okay, put the switch back to run, then it tells me to turn the power off. Not quite sure why, but it does tell me to do that. Leave it for a second or 2 and then turn the power back on, and the motor goes through a little shunt backwards and forwards, and then it'll self-center. And there it goes now, and it's stopped pretty nigh central. So that's how you put the self-centering back on. Again, using the manufacturers of the DCC systems 1 and 2 options. I could have used 2, but I decided to use 1. So this is now self-centered, set up, and we'll turn off the Prodigy, and I'll come back in a minute and we'll run the NCE PowerCab. Okay, so we're back again with the PowerCab connected now to the digital Cobalt. It's still self-centered and the PowerCab's active. Now to remove the self-centering feature we need to use address number 198. To do that we put the switch into set and we enter the accessory address 198. Push enter, and again the PowerCab asks me for 1 or 2. I'm not sure if you can see that clearly. It says 1 or 2 on there. So we'll push 1 and then tells me in the instructions to do this twice. So accessory 198, enter, 1, enter, and put the switch back to run and turn the power off. So I've turned the power off to the PowerCab. It has now got a blank screen. Wait a second or 2, put the power back on, and now we can set the decoder's address. Now previously I set it to 50, so we just see if it works on 50. So select accessory, 50, enter, 1 or 2, and there she goes. Accessory, 50. This is slightly different from the Prodigy Advance because we have to keep re-entering the address number. Use number 2 and it moves the other way. Whereas on the Prodigy you could keep pushing 1 or 2. You can't on this one. It won't do it. It just keeps adding numbers. Accessory 51. And then she goes back the other way. We'll change its address completely. From 50, we'll put it back to number 1. So on the instructions it tells us to turn the little switch to set, which I've done. Select accessory, and to change its address number you just enter the number that you want. We'll call it 1. Enter, and we need to push the 1 again. Enter. Now I wonder if it'll work with just the one go. I haven't tried twice, so we'll see. May not work, but we'll see. So select accessory number 1 this time, enter. Yeah, it did, we accepted it. Although the instructions say do it twice, it's a precaution, I guess. Select accessory 1. And now it goes back the other way. So in all it's quite a nice little point motor. I quite like it. It's neatly designed, very simple to set up. Once you've mastered the idea that you have to use the 1 and 2 buttons on both the Prodigy and the Power Cab to actually send that address. I'll do it once more so we can see. I'll make it address number 100 this time. So we put the switch to set, select the accessory, we'll call it 100, 100, and I hope you can read that on the Power Cab, it says 100. Push enter, and now it says 1 or 2, I'll give it 1, and push enter, and then we'll turn the switch back to run, and now it should respond to address number 100. Select 100, enter, and there she goes. Oops. So it's really easy to set up and use. No complicated CVs to enter, nothing else other than some simple address number. So we now have it at address number 100 and it's really simple to set up. You can actually alter the direction that's normal by using address number 197, so that if you enter 197 and put the switch back to run, when you enter its normal operating address, it will move to this side on the number 1 and number 2 to this side. Whereas currently it's the opposite way around. So it's very handy if you're mounting the motor the opposite way and you need the movement to be the opposite from what it's set at currently. Nice simple little system.